I would
Exactly.
assume, correct me if I'm wrong, but two things that I've read. One was that there were more Christians in Syria than almost anywhere in the Middle East before
Of course.
the ISIS kind of takeover. So people think, Sharia law Syria, where it's really like more Christians anywhere else in the Middle East, and it's
Yeah.
safer. I would assume that Bashar al-Assad is very popular among Syrians because, I mean, do they see him as like a savior? Like, he kind of saved the country from a regime change from the West?
The main reason is not because, oh my God, like Assad is an angel and so on, but the truth is that he's fighting ISIS, he's fighting Al-Qaeda, he's protecting the Christian minority of Syria. There are many areas that ISIS took over, Christian areas, that when they took over, they were beheading Christians, they were burning churches that were thousands of years old and killing people just because they were Christians or Assad supporters. So right now, the people talk about the Syrian army as if the Syrian army is Assad's homies or Assad's bodyguard, when the truth is that the Syrian army are Syrian people coming from every single city and every single religion and ethnic background, and they're all united to fight terrorist groups that we Syrians have learned from history and we have learned from our neighbors. We saw what America did to Iraq. They said we want to bring Iraq democracy. Iraq till today, it's still messed up and there's still terrorism. The economy is destroyed. Look at Libya, the same thing. They said, oh, we want to get rid of Gaddafi because he's a dictator and whatever. Look at Libya till today. They're selling slaves in the market, African slaves in the market. So we have seen another example, Afghanistan. America has been in Afghanistan for more than 20 years and it's still messed up. So like we have learned from our neighbors and we have learned from history. And the last thing we want is for America to be in control of our country, because Syria is not a great country right now, but we are sure that if America takes control, it's going to be just like Iraq and just like Libya and just like Afghanistan. So this is the truth of what is going on in Syria. And going back to what you said about the Christians, my grandma's Orthodox Christian and we are Syrians, and my grandma comes from a ancient Christian town called Malula in Damascus countryside. And this town till today, they still speak the language of Jesus Christ, which is Aramaic. This is something very rare you would find in the world, not in the Middle East, in the world, that people are still speaking the language of Jesus Christ. So imagine if Obama's plan worked. Like imagine if the Syrian government, the secular government, got overthrown and ISIS or Al-Qaeda took over. What do you think would have happened to the Christians? What would you think would have happened to all of these towns? So it's like, this is one of the main reasons why we are standing with our army and we are trying our best to defend our country from what Obama and the Saudi Arabian government and Turkey did to our country, and of course NATO countries. And one last thing, when they saw that they failed to overthrow Assad and now the majority of Syria is under the control of the Syrian army, what did they do? They started imposing more and more economic sanctions, hoping that this year we had an election that the economic situation will get very bad to the point that the Syrian people will be like, you know what, let us do what America wants and let us overthrow our government so that hopefully they would lift the economic sanctions and we can start living in a good way.